Hello, and thank you for joining us today on this episode of the Transit Talk. Friends, we are going to break down some of the new benefits that have become available to our members. Up here on the table, we have different buckets that pertain to different benefits that are available for our members to tap into, and we are going to break down what these buckets entail. So, Pete, take it away. Bucket number one, the green bucket.
Excellent. Thank you, Roger.
What does it say on there?
Well, the first one says additional city paid sick allowance. I do want to point out it says city. This is not SFMTA, folks. This is anybody and everybody who works for the city and county of San Francisco. So we have 5 different departments inside. We have 5 different groups, 6 different groups. We have the transit operators. We have the automotive service workers. We have the fare inspectors. We have the museum curators. We have the
disease control investigators, public health inspectors.
Exactly. They all work for the city. Some unions have people who work for different groups outside the city. Ours is all city. So this is for all city employees. So this is just like a free little bonus, folks. This is a free bonus. This is not because the feds gave it to us. It is citywide. All of our members, 80 hours, which is 2 weeks. If you're part-time, it's less than 80 hours. It's basically 2 weeks of time. They'll prorate it for part-time operators. So automatically all city employees, any purpose. So that's important. This is any purpose. This is not COVID-19. This is
any purpose. Okay. It doesn't have to be related to COVID. It's just here's 80 hours in your bucket for sick. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
Okay. And this expires December 31st, 2020. Some of these other ones expire at a different time. So make sure you read these forms. Okay. So all these forms that the city's been putting out have been putting out. I will send out a bunch of emails to about 2,500 members whose emails that we have from the city out of our 2,800 members. So if you don't get it by Tuesday, you can always email me at pwilson@twsf.org. And you can find my email hopefully on our website as well. But this should have been put straight into your account. If it's not, check with payroll check with payroll. Don't call Michael Dennis. This is not they've been shorting me on my overtime type of question. This is, hey, where's my 80 hours?
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
People have been getting it because we've seen posts on Facebook. So this is the simplest. It's very nice. It's just given to everybody. You don't need any situation.
And it's non-COVID. It doesn't have to pertain to COVID. It's just 80 hours. Here it is in your bucket. Go ahead. Right. Okay, perfect.
And it seems like to me that it's for people who, not most of our members, but telecommuting and all that type of people. You're out on sick leave right now. This is for anybody and everybody. So the next one is additional floating holidays.
This is bucket number 2.
Bucket number 2.
The benefits in this bucket. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. So I just want to point out that a lot of people have been saying, hey, how come we're not getting hazard pay? In Atlanta, they're getting $500 a month hazard pay. So I looked up the definition of hazard pay because I think most people just think it means more money for work that you do. And it's pretty much what it says. The federal definition, hazard pay, means additional pay for performing hazardous duty or work involving physical hardship. Now, I think most of our members would think that they are performing hazardous duty because they're operating a motor coach or trolley coach or other people, transit fare inspectors are doing some stuff. All of our members who are out there are doing stuff and they're exposed to COVID-19.
Right.
Okay. So we are saying, hazardous duty. So this is additional pay in the form of a floating holiday. You work 40 hours 1 week regular, not 4 days of 10 hours because that's overtime, but 5 days, 8 hours, you get 1 additional floating holiday.
So you work 40 hours in 1 week, you get 1 additional floating holiday for that week.
Yep.
The next week you work another 40 hours, you get another floating holiday for that week.
So now you got 16 hours of floating holiday.
Right.
Keep doing that. You can earn up to 80 hours of floating holidays.
Earn up to 80 hours of floating holidays.
Yes.
And here's the catch. I don't know if it's a catch or whatever you want to call it, but you cannot use it until when the mayor says, okay, emergency over, no more emergency.
Yep.
Then those extra additional floating holidays will be given to you. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Don't start emailing me and asking me, hey, but how are they going to administrate it and how are they going to do that? We've asked that. They don't know yet. but they do know it's when the emergency ends, then we'll have it.
Okay.
And they do expire on December 31st in 2021.
Correct.
So the reason I'm, if we're going to have all these people with all this vacation time and all this floating holidays and such, is like we need to make sure that you can take it before it expires.
Right. And all of that, you guys, Pete Wilson is going to email you every single one of these documents, which is many documents. And so if you do not receive the email from Pete Wilson, once again, email him, pwilson@twusf.org, so he can add you to our email list.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Well, it's coming from me because it does say Pete Wilson on there, but it is from the Transport Workers Union 258.
Right, exactly.
We under the advisement of a IT director from International, use a service called MailChimp. I can't put 2,400 emails into my mail accounts. It is so yeah, it's coming from MailChimp. If you see that.
All right, so
just making sure that we touched on all the bullet points. This is for people in the workplace, not telecommuting, and it's for all employees performing essential services, according to HR. So in DSW, which is all of us, disaster service workers, some people are classified as essential and some people are classified as non-essential. According to HR, it's not based on your classification because some of our members are not classified as essential. It's based on you coming to work and working in the city, directing traffic, directing people, cleaning buses, and operating, okay? So that's for a lot of people.
Those are the benefits pertaining to bucket number 2. Is there anything else?
I think that's good, unless you have anything else to say.
No, I think that's it. Moving on to this third benefit, which is bucket number 3, which is EPSLA, Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. You see that, Pete?
Yep.
EPSLA, Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. All right, Pete, so let's break this down. What does this entail?
Just want to point out that bucket 3 and bucket 4 are, and this was confusing to me when I first looked at it, are 2 different brochures, okay, or two different pamphlets. This one is the smaller one, so of course I was gravitated to that one, easier to read, but this one goes into greater detail, okay? So it tells you who can get it, how long it's available, how much you get paid, okay? So for this one, the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act, it's up to 80 hours, okay? So for full-time employees, that's 2 weeks. It's used if you get COVID-19, if you have COVID-19 issues, symptoms, or you're actually sick, you use this first, okay? Use this before another benefit, the orange bucket. There are, and this can be slightly confusing, so read this. There are 2 different groups of criteria for receiving benefits for this Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. 3 of them, the first 3, have to do with infections for you, quarantines for you, advice from a medical professional about you and having COVID-19. Now for that, you get paid up to $511 per day, okay, depending on your rate of pay. So that's...
So let me read those 3. I'm just going to read directly what those 3 qualifying reasons are. Number 1, government ordered quarantine. Number 2, healthcare provider ordered quarantine. Number 3, COVID-19 symptoms and seeking a diagnosis. Those are the 3 that you're talking about, right? I'm just reading off of the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act right here.
Okay. All right. So that's full pay. That's nice. Up to $511. If the director of whatever at SFMTA who makes a lot more than $500, you can look up and see how much Julie Kirschbaum makes. But if Julie or Jeff Tumlin or Ed Reskin, who was still working here, he maxed out at $511. He makes more than $511.
Okay, so those are the first 3.
Yes.
What about
the next 3? So the next 3, it's only up to $200. Okay. So this has. Why don't you read those 3 off for us? Okay,
so it says for these latter 3, it says caring for an individual subject to a government or healthcare provider ordered quarantine, or school child care provider closures for the employee's child, or similar conditions identified by the Secretary of Health and Human Services. That's the one that you're talking about, where you only receive a $200
$200
max per day. Okay.
Yep. And it says shall be 2/3 of an employee's regular rate of pay, up to $200.
Okay.
It's kind of like when you go on disability or workman's comp or unemployment, you don't get the full amount.
Right.
Kind of thing. Now this can be supplemented though, can't it?
Yeah. it can be supplemented with whatever other types of leave that you have acquired in your bank.
Yeah, your vacation or sick or anything. Many of these can be supplemented to get full pay, or some of these can be. So you should check into that if you're interested in getting full pay.
Okay.
But if you do take vacation time to supplement it, it's to get you paid more now. Your vacation time, that's just giving yourself a loan, which is fine. People need loans.
Okay. Anything else pertaining to benefits in bucket number 3, which is the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act, Pete?
Well, it's in relationship to that. It's not. So this is from the feds.
Okay.
Okay. This is specific to the act that just passed here in the last couple of weeks. I do want to point out on the changes in paid leave memo. This is very nice. So let's say, Roger, 6 months ago, an operator got the flu, not the COVID-19, but just some flu, and they like an extreme case of some rare flu or whatever, and they were out for a month. Who would pay for that? They'd have to use their sick. Maybe they have to go on disability, something like that.
Right.
Would the city pay for that additional time?
No.
No. With COVID-19, you can use these 2 weeks, and then what happens after that? First, you use the Paid Sick Leave Act, 80 hours. And for employees performing essential services who must remain in the workplace, the city will put you on administrative leave after these 2 weeks run out. So this is unprecedented, folks. You get sick. So a lot of us are worried about this. This is a serious, legitimate concern that people have. People have been asking about this. What happens if I'm out, I can get exposed? Yeah. If you get exposed to COVID-19, it's not like another disease or malady that you might have gotten driving from uni before. Anything else happens to you, you have to use sick leave, you have to use whatever. If you get infected with COVID-19, okay, there are people who have been infected with COVID-19 working for the city, a few operators. They use this first, and then after that runs out, they go on paid furlough by the city. That's pretty sweet.
Right.
This is the second, what I'm going to call a quasi or basically a hazard pay. Why am I saying that? If let's say people who work for the city that are telecommuting, they're not coming into work anymore. They're doing maybe somebody works for the retirement system and they've got their computer hooked up and they're working via the internet and answering all that kind of stuff. If they get COVID-19 at the supermarket, is the city going to put them on paid furlough? No.
Right.
Because they're not coming to work. All of our members out there who are coming in to work, if you get COVID-19, the city's going to say, they're not going to argue that, oh, you were in the supermarket, you were at home. No, you were here.
It's going to be assumed that it was acquired while on the job, while working.
This is a super nice benefit. I mean, this is wonderful.
Right. I mean, regardless, we don't want anybody catching COVID-19.
We don't want anybody to catch COVID-19.
But we're just letting you guys know what's out there.
It's an amazing
benefits are out
policy.
there. Right, correct. We're just letting you know what the benefits are in terms of all of these buckets. Pete, let me ask you this. Before we go on to bucket number 4, is each bucket specific, meaning I can only use this or only use that?
No. Okay. I'm not going to use the orange bucket. Well, we haven't got to the orange bucket yet. No, there are. You know what? The answer is no. I'm going to answer that with the orange one, Roger.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Okay. The orange bucket. Let's see. What benefits are in here? Let's see. This is the Emergency Expansion for Family Medical Leave Act. Those are 4 letters that you and I are very familiar with. FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act. And so this bucket pertains to benefits in regards to the emergency expansion for FMLA. So Pete,
expansion is a key word. It's expanded, folks. So it's now for 12 weeks. For 12 weeks. So people have said, hey, my kids are at home. They're 3 and 5 and nobody can watch them. Okay? I'm not going to use it because my kids are 11 and 14. Okay? So they're old enough. Plus my wife works at home. So I don't have that issue. But for people who do have that issue, maybe they're a single parent. Maybe both the parents have jobs where they have to go to work. This will pay you for 10 weeks. Okay? The orange bucket will pay you for 10 weeks to have to stay home and watch your kids.
Why 10 and not 12?
Well, it's kind of like with other things like unemployment and disability, you know, there's often that first week where you're not paid.
Right.
So the first 2 weeks you're not paid, and then the last 2 weeks, or excuse me, the first 2 weeks you're paid, last 10 weeks you're not. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll on my computer.
The first 2 weeks you are not paid.
Yes. But now this is what you said just a couple minutes ago, could use these buckets. So remember these 2 free weeks? If you haven't used these 2 free weeks and you're going to take this 12 weeks, you can use these 2 weeks. You can go on to the FMLA. You can take these 2 weeks pay for the first 2 weeks and then take those 10 weeks.
Okay, so that right there, you guys, lets you know that these buckets are sort of interchangeable. You don't you can't just
overlappable.
overlap. Yeah, correct.
Proper word, yeah.
Meaning, if you use this, you're excluded from everything else. No, it's not how it works.
No, well, it's not just this sick pay. It's any sick pay you have. Plus, you could use vacation pay if you have vacation pay to pay for the first 2 weeks.
To supplement for the first 2 weeks. Okay.
So it is FMLA. Some of you have already taken FMLA from before that you had for childcare, for watching your kids. My understanding from reading these documents is there is a maximum of 12 hours. So if you've already taken 5 weeks, excuse me, thank you, 12 weeks. So if you've already taken 7 weeks, then you would you could only get paid for 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some people did the baby bonding. Does that count? I don't know. It could. I'm not an FMLA expert on this.
Okay.
Don't call Michael Dennis to ask him. Call for all questions COVID related. COVID.HR questions at sfmta.com.
Read that again. Read that email again.
Well, it's on this sheet.
Okay.
Okay, but it's COVID.HR.questions at sfmta.com. And I'm sorry, I said don't call Michael Dennis. You can always call Michael Dennis. He's crazy busy right now. And if people call and say, I didn't get my 80 hours, talk to your chair about that. Your chair is there to help you. And this is not I didn't get enough overtime when I drove to Woods. No, this is
okay.
That email is for any COVID, for all these questions with the city, okay?
Good to know. Is that all the information in terms
bucket?
of bucket number 4, which is the emergency expansion FMLA?
Did I say it's up to 2/3 of your wages, up to $200 a day?
Say it again.
It can be up to 2/3 of your wages or maximum of $200 a day. If you make $600 a day, you're not going to get $400.
Right.
If you for sick pay for operators is about $300 a day. So you would only get $200 a day.
And then you can use your other paid leaves to supplement.
That's my understanding. You can use some sick leave to supplement to get more pay.
Right.
That's my understanding. Read these documents, folks.
So that pertains to bucket number 4. Now, moving on to the last bucket, which is sick and vacation advancements.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pete.
This is something, documents were sent out about this a couple weeks ago already. But what the SFMTA has done is they put it in here in this handout, the thickest of the handouts. It's sick and emergency and vacation leave. The first thing is bucket number 2, and then bucket number 3 and bucket number 4. They actually talk about sick leave and vacation advancements in this, even though information was already sent out. So that sick leave advancement is exactly it. You have to have 0 sick time on the book, 0 vacation time on the book, but you need to take some time off. That's when you get the advancement. Okay? What do you want to say about that, Roger?
Remember, you guys, well, pretty much this right here is simply a loan, right? So let me read directly from Article 3 on that section that Pete Wilson is talking about. Letter D says sick and vacation leave advancement. I'm just reading right here, you guys. The SFMTA may advance up to 80 hours of paid sick leave or vacation to eligible employees based on criteria set by Human Resources Director. If the city advances sick pay or vacation to an employee, the employee will not accrue additional sick pay or vacation until the SFMTA has recovered the hours advanced. Okay, so this is a loan. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that almost sounds like you won't get hours. You are getting hours. They're just keeping them, right? They're automatically
deducting them.
Yes. Right. You are still getting not benefited, credited for them. I don't like the exact wording, but yes.
So that was it in regards to the benefits to
2
bucket
weeks.
number 5. Okay. Pete.
Yes.
What else you have?
Well, this isn't going to affect everybody, and it might confuse some people because at least one member was asking me, hey, we can get more vacation here too? It's right here, the changes in paid leave memo. The first thing it talks about, which is the vacation accrual limits. So there are limits on how many vacation hours you can have on the books. This is not COVID-19. This is up to 5 years of service, 40 days, 5 to 15, 45 days, 15 years or more, 50 days. So the longer you've been here, you can accrue more hours, meaning you have a credit which you can go on vacation. So you're like, oh, for me, I've been here for 7.5 years, so I can have 45 days. That's what, 9 weeks. So I could go on a 9-week vacation, right?
Right.
But some people who are full right now on their hours, almost maxed out, they might be worried that they're not going to take a vacation, but they will stop accruing. In other words, they won't get a benefit, the vacation benefit, because of not being able to go on vacation right now. People can go on vacation; they can take a staycation and just stay home.
Right.
But you can't go to Mexico and sit on the beach. You can't go skiing or whatever like that right now, right? So, what is the SFMTA doing about that? The SFMTA raised the limits. Okay. So if for me and for Roger, our limits, for Michael Dennis as well, our limits are 45 days.
That's right.
So if we were accruing time with the city right now, it would go up, and it explains how many hours and all that in here. But so don't worry, your accrual limits will go up until December 31st, 2021. Okay?
So let me just go ahead and read those 2 sentences directly from the changes in paid leave memo. And if you have this, go ahead and follow along with me. 2 sentences. It says employees can accrue up to an additional 80 hours, which is 10 days, over the vacation maximum accrual limit during the duration of the emergency. When the emergency ends, employees would need to take vacation and reduce their balance below the maximum accrual by December 31, 2021. Exactly like what Pete was saying right there, you guys.
Right. So once again, it's not additional vacation. Okay. I do want to mention once again the hazard pay idea, or the bonus, if you want to call it hazard pay, the bonus for coming in. It's 2 things, right? What are the 2 things? The floating holidays, and the other is if you get sick, which we hope you don't, that the SFMTA keeps paying you for that.
Right.
Those are the 2 hazard pay type of things.
And I've heard people call that different things. Some people say hazard pay. Some people say bonus, which I don't know if it's a bonus. I mean, words are being thrown out there in terms of what it's being called. We're just giving you the facts in terms of the different benefits pertaining to all these different buckets. So
call it what you want.
Call it what you want, you guys. Yeah, exactly. What else you got there, Pete?
I just want to point out, somebody did say, some members, they don't care. They just want to stay home. They don't care about getting paid. So this is a rainy day, folks. People say save up for a rainy day. Right. If you haven't saved up for a rainy day, it's going to be a little tough. Once this is over, save up for a rainy day. What do I mean by that? Like people are like, I only get $200 a day. Some people have saved up for a rainy day. And some people might say, I don't care. I don't need to get paid. I just don't want to be exposed.
Right.
Okay. City's not going to say, why don't you all go home and we'll pay you. They're not going to say that. So what if you are one of those people who are like, I don't care about money. I don't want to be exposed. The first option is a leave of absence. Okay. They don't want 1,000 of us going in for a leave of absence, but that is a possibility. You don't get paid. You go on an unpaid leave of absence. I'm just saying, for people who don't care and aren't, you're not being forced. We're not being forced to stay here. I mean, one person told me that they qualified because of another medical issue, that their doctor wrote them a note, and that they were qualifying for disability. That's what they told me. And people have also talked about trying to retire now. If somebody quit, they could try for unemployment. I don't know about that, but yeah, you could always just not come. We are not. The most important thing, Roger, is what? Your health, safety, friends, or your family.
Absolutely.
That type of thing.
Different situations pertain differently to different people. So, do whatever is best, safest, and healthiest for you, for your families. Yep. Okay, you guys?
That one question. Remember, an operator emailed me last night. about people who are over 65.
Okay, go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, I heard that over 65 we could come. We didn't have to come to work." That's a good rumor. I mean, it's a popular rumor. It's not true. Regardless of what you see on the lineup at cable car or any place else that says over 65 sent home, that's been cleared up. People maybe thought they could go home if they were 65. Maybe dispatchers did. Folks, we've talked to HR. They are not saying, "Hey, you're 66 years old. We have to send you home." They are not saying that. I believe against the law. At least they're claiming it's against the law to do special things for people based on age.
Age discrimination.
Yeah.
Right.
If you can't do the job anymore, then you can stay home.
Right. Right.
It's age discrimination. So unfortunately, no. You're 67. Does that mean you can go home and get paid? No, unfortunately not.
Tap into one of these buckets, you guys.
Yep,
whatever
please.
way, shape, or form it suits and fits you best. Like I said, we're just here giving you the details and information pertaining to the benefits in regards to the different buckets. And by the time you watch this video, maybe there might be another bucket that you can tap into, because things are changing on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. So at this moment, this is the latest information that we have. Hence, we are sharing it with you.
Don't forget, we want to tap into different things that they can do to help out. Roger's got the yellow tape right there.
So, you guys, what Pete is referring to right now, because we are running real short on time, so I'm going to make this short, sweet, and simple. What Pete and I were doing out in the streets is with rolls of yellow tape, red tape, we were taping up the buses and putting up a big X on the floor to symbolize, hey, that's my 6 feet social distancing. Don't get close to me, right? And so we were doing that on many, many buses, but we don't have the time to be out there hitting up 1,000 buses. So we're asking you, if you have some time and if you have 99 cents, stop by the 99-cent store, grab yourself a roll of duct tape, yellow, red, blue, green, it doesn't matter, and help us out in terms of putting the big X on the floor and taping up whatever else needs to be taped up in the name of health, safety, social distancing, etc. So we were doing that, literally, physically doing that for the past couple of weeks. Also, we were encouraging operators to use the rear doors for passengers when boarding and exiting, to also maintain that social distancing of 6 feet, right, in the name of health and safety. Also, the limit on passengers, we were encouraging the agency to put a maximum amount of limit. At this moment, the limits are 15 people for a 30-foot bus, 20 people for a 40-foot bus, and 30 people for a 60-foot bus. However, we still think that is way too high, and AC Transit in the past couple of days put up their limits, which are severely lower than that, what I just read to you. And so we're in the process of compelling the agency to also reduce those numbers in the name of health, safety, and keeping the social distancing of 6 feet. So we are in the process of doing all these different things out there in the streets, you guys, to try and make things better, safer, healthier, etc. Another thing, before we sign off, because we're running real short on time, hanging up signs. Pete Wilson and I have been making signs, as well as some of you guys have been making your own personal signs, hanging them up on the buses. Some of you guys even put them on laminated them. Some of you guys laminated the signs and are taking them from bus to bus. Help us out with that. The agency said also that they were going to assist with that. And
the agency has started to put up some signs.
Yes.
And if your buses don't have signs, it's fine. People have been not complaining to me, letting me know. You gotta let the staff know at your agency. Julie told me that Islayas Creek has them on all buses, but Woods doesn't have them yet. So definitely gotta push them along.
Help us out, you guys. Grab yourself a roll of 99-cent tape at the Walgreens or at the 99-cent store. Help us out. We're doing everything that we can to provide better, safer situations out there for all of our members.
Let me just say, I actually want to say help yourselves out. This is another great example. There have been some members who have been stepping up and helping each other out, because this is a time of need that the union, that's not the union. It's not Roger Marinka's. We are all members. We are all members of the union. We got 1 minute before the tape will cut off. So any last minutes? Any last comments?
That's it, Pete. You get the last word. Go ahead.
I do. Woohoo!
Go ahead. Go for it.
Wow, I was not prepared for ever having the last word. Well, thank you. I do want to say that that Roger and I have been out and doing all that stuff, and a couple other chairs have, but I do want to say the agency has responded and has been doing it a little bit, because it's not like I want to give them huge props, but it was operators telling people to go through the back door. It was our constant. You reached out to the supervisors, and my supervisor, Dean Preston, and Asa Shafai called them and put in pressure. So that's an excellent way. And it's an excellent way to say goodbye, given that we have 5 seconds left. So thank you. Be safe, stay healthy, and
thank you, everybody. Until next time, you guys, be safe out there, okay?
camera person.
Thank you.
Thanks.